video series today. I am going to be talking about patterns that are connected. So it seems really common sense, right? But they do not. Patterns are always overlapping, intersecting. Worst case scenario patterns are uh, entangled with other energies that kind of slow things down. So, why is it important that you have an awareness that patterns are connected? Well, you want to know how to identify patterns and then link those patterns to what they're connected to. Ultimately, deciding consciously whether the pattern is working for you or working against you, meaning it's either making you rise up or it's actually pulling you down into a lower frequency. So, I thought it would be helpful to give you an example of an experience of maybe somebody who has a childhood where they grew up in a family where there was a lot of alcohol, and maybe they were around and surrounded by people having alcohol. They identified alcohol as a positive aspect of their childhood and growing up, and then all of a sudden they're an adult and they see alcohol completely different. They see it not as something that's good, but they see it as something that's bad. And now they have this conflict, right? So, this conflict is the pattern that's connecting to a belief. And I talked about this yesterday. But so you go and you say, okay, I have beliefs about alcohol, and that's creating an inner conflict. That's a good awareness to have. So now you want to look at, well, what are my beliefs about alcohol that I have? And is that really what I really believe now? So growing up, I believed that alcohol was good and it was fun and people liked each other when they were drinking. And that's the experience, right? So there's beliefs around it. So now when you grow up and maybe you have some health challenges and you realize, you know what? That thing in that glass that everybody is drinking, it's actually poison and it's not good for you, and it really distorts your perception or whatever the story is for you. And that person who's having those new thoughts that are judgments about this alcohol that goes contrary to the belief. So now you see how these patterns of thoughts and congruency intersect and connect with beliefs that will either bring you up or pull you down. So, what you want to do now is number one, have the awareness of the pattern. Look at what are some of the beliefs. There might be more than one, there might be a slew of beliefs that are connected to one topic, such as alcohol, for example. There might be a ton of beliefs that also might lead to some egoic judgments. So then you can say, oh, okay, there's my ego mind playing in judgment. And then you could start to peel back the layers. Now, this is a practice that is very uncomfortable for most. And oftentimes people don't even want to do that work. And I can understand why, because it brings you more power, but it's not very fun because you also pull back what's called the illusion, and which is that the thoughts that you think are not always in alignment with what is congruent within. And that's the most important aspect of understanding patterns, is that these patterns often run incongruent to what's in alignment with your inner self, your higher self, your most congruent feelings of love and alignment and peace. So when you can identify that these patterns are running in reverse, for example, then you can begin to unplug from them by identifying the aspects that are no longer true for you, and you bring in conscious choice. So you can say, for example, using the same example of alcohol, you would say, okay, so I used to believe that alcohol was good, but now I think it's not so good, but I don't want to be in judgment of it. So I'm just going to go with the belief that alcohol doesn't feel good to me right now. And that's what I believe. And so this is the new belief that I am choosing to align with and forget the old one. I'm going to delete that from my consciousness by importing a new belief, and which feels better and is more aligned with what I feel is right for me, where it's not in judgment of other people, it's not in judgment of myself, and it lifts me up because I know that my alignment is about being congruent with it. And we're always more congruent when we're not in our ego mind, when we are following what's within us and we're aligning to that more and more. Think of it as a shift each moment that you make a conscious choice in alignment with the direction that feels better within. Okay? I hope you found this helpful. I am Kiana Sage and I guide people to peace. Have a great day.